Hi, I'm Mark Cerny. I'm excited to be here to talk about the newest addition to our console lineup, PlayStation 5 Pro, and how it advances gaming technology. But first, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5 and how it delivers an exceptional gaming experience.
It's context, okay.
When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought a lot to the table. 8 Zen 2 CPU cores form the brains of PlayStation 5 and enable high-speed, complex gameplay, with character counts reaching into the hundreds and frame rates that can be as high as 120 frames a second. PS5 has a powerful RDNA 2 GPU, which can render anything from intricate details to fantastic worlds with vast panoramas to explore. Ray tracing allows for dramatic visual improvements, including reflections off of water or glass, and the realism that comes from real-time global illumination. A custom SSD can load data at breathtaking speed, resulting in ultra-fast transitions between game worlds and data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially unlimited.
You okay? I'm working on it!
Tempest 3D audio tech brings an unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games. With audio so real, you may not even need to see the enemies to know exactly where they are. Finally, the DualSense controller has haptics that let you feel through your hands what your character is experiencing inside of the game. It's wonderful to see such variety and richness of game experiences. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance. The dreams of the developers are bigger than can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players. Fidelity modes emphasize the visuals, typically through higher resolution rendering. These modes might also have enhanced detail or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier and the controls less responsive.
Okay,
Performance
Mark.
modes
Okay.
emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run at 60 frames per second, mainly by reducing the graphical detail until those frame rates can be achieved. When asked to decide on a mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time.
Obviously.
Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro. We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates that players typically prefer. To do that, PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3. First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster. Second, we made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5.
Or you could drop it.
And finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR for short. PSSR analyzes the game images pixel by pixel and can add an extraordinary amount of detail, which boosts the effective resolution of the games. Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the Big 3 involved, the results can be pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like fidelity levels of detail, but at double the frame rate. Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro. It has huge amounts of detail and targets a super smooth 60 frames per second. Let's compare this to the fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30 frames per second
see it, man.
and is therefore
Yeah,
much
man.
choppier.
Don't stop! We gotta lose.
This goal
All right.
of delivering almost fidelity-like graphics at performance frame rates has been achieved for a broad set of titles, including Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. We can see that PS5 Pro is close to doubling the power of PlayStation 5. Another way to compare the two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus Performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second. What we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5.
Yep.
For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet & Clank. Distant details are much clearer. And here we can see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene, including the trees and procedural cars.
Yep.
So overall, some remarkable improvement to the games. On PS5 Pro, we can see increased sharpness to the graphics or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the big three showing their value. As you've been seeing, machine learning via the PSSR library is being used quite broadly to add pixel detail and boost frame rate. But there are as many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden West. Apart from the detail boost, that extra graphics power is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects, as well as to the hair and the skin in cinematics.
Open up, guys. Jorv's orders.
Good enough for me.
This PC gameplay, man.
Ray tracing is finding broad usage as well, particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates. The faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference, allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second. That boost in ray tracing is also delivering big wins for Hogwarts Legacy, allowing not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows. I hope you've enjoyed this run-through of the technology behind PlayStation 5 Pro. Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built, and a worthy addition to the PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by giving you a quick look at a number of games running on the new console.
You'll never break a legend, 'cause they don't know it.
All right. Oh!
Legendary.
Don't let me hang it.
It looks just like it. Okay, all right.
Close your eyes. It'll be worth it.
Okay.
Did I do it? Oh, what is this? What's with all the neon?
Oh, wow. They got person in there. All right, boys, there's your price, $700. Okay, okay. How are we feeling? How are we feeling? Hold on, let me get back to the price. There it is, $700. So again, 45% stronger. You'll be able to essentially play games at 60 FPS, games that you would have to select performance mode on to get that type of performance, right? So essentially what you're going to be able to do is, at least from what Mark was saying here, is that you'll be able to play the games with the same graphical fidelity and performance of 60 FPS, high resolutions, and for some unknown reason, ray tracing, which I feel like ray tracing tanks even my system with the 4090 over here. I selectively will choose like the most minimum ray tracing possible. I just find like, how long has ray tracing been around, guys? Half a decade? Are we going like half a decade right now? This shit's never been optimized. With that being said, though, I think 60 FPS is the mark, the standard. It has been the standard for so long. I won't play a game less than 60 FPS. And it seems like with the pro consoles that are going to be coming out, you'll be able to finally do that. Now, this is granted something we've been able to do with PCs now for years, but for my console folks, here you go, right? Might as well just get a PC. So like what the other consoles, $500 was like $499, you know, $500. Well, guys, listen, here's the thing. I'm always excited. Even though I'm not like a console guy, I'm always excited to see the next thing that people are working on. I'm actually surprised Destiny wasn't shown at all in this. So I'm curious to know like how Destiny is going to be optimized in the new consoles. What the Pro really represents, okay? It represents the cutting of support of those old gen consoles. And I'm not talking about like cutting support something from Sony or Xbox or whatever. I'm talking about this may be the moment for us, specifically in the Destiny community, where Bungie says, all right, it's time to leave behind Xbox One and PlayStation 4. It's time to now dial everything in for the new gen and the most recent gen, that being the PS5, right? $700 for a console, just get a PC. Well, you know, listen, guys, here's the thing, man. I've been rocking a Star Force PC now for years. And for me, you know, we could just outwardly look in at the situation. Now, are you getting a more expensive machine? Do you need that fragrant? It's a wonderful show, by the way. I'm just letting you know, a wonderful show. What honestly has become my favorite anime, even surpassing Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. You don't need the limited edition PC, right? You can just go with like one of the normal looking PCs, okay? But they're expensive. PCs are expensive. However, you could do a lot more stuff with them. You know what I mean? You can do work on them. You can run editing programs or anything else. You could game on them. And there's never a situation where, you know, you're not going to be able to enjoy the next game at 60 FPS high resolution. Unless, of course, you like go in there and get like a super old PC right now. But if you're buying anything that's like 3000 series or 4000 series GPUs, man, you're gold. You're good. You're good for a very long time. Hell, I still got my 980 that I built back in 2015. And that thing's still trucking along. And even in 2015, that thing was doing 60 FPS. Now, I'm not going to say that PCs are perfect. PCs have problems. You know, you can't watch on them, you know, or do anything too crazy because you can get it all junked up with shit and cause issues and problems. So you got to take care of it, right? But I don't even think you can watch on console anyways. You know what I mean? You can, but I wouldn't risk it, man. Don't risk that shit. Anyways, to my PlayStation guys, I will say I'm excited for y'all. I really am excited for y'all. Like even right now, like not being a console guy, I get hyped for, you know, the hybrid consoles, the in between, the next gen stuff. Dude, I get into it. Is it greatly behind PC? Yes. You know, that gap has always been pretty wide. But here's the thing. We are reaching a point where I think consoles, if they can, you know, maintain good resolutions at 60 FPS, for the most part, if you're playing on a couch, man, dude, that's completely fine. I mean, that's what more can you really ask for, right? I guess at that point, yeah, we could start talking about 120 FPS or whatnot. But I mean, like if I was just a couch gamer, and I was like, I just want to sit here, I want to chill, dude, I'm completely fine with 60 FPS 4K resolution. Really, it's the cost effectiveness of the hardware that keeps me on console. Call me old school if you want. I got a lot of friends, man. I got a friend. He doesn't want to deal with the headache of owning a PC. Not that if it's a headache, but he's just not very tech savvy. And so his thing is like he wants to buy a console, plug it up, hit the on button, and just play games and not worry about anything else. He's gotten used to just the interface of consoles, and that's what he does. And man, he's a dedicated gamer, but that's just that's his thing. So I get really hyped to see new consoles coming. And I love that. I say I love. It's about damn time that, you know, people, you know, Mark here realize or saying that 60 FPS should be the standard. Because for years now, there's been like this weird like gaslighting bullshit where you're like on Twitter and people are like, your eye can't even perceive the difference between 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second. Get the fuck out of there. What do you mean my eyes can't? Are my eyes lying to me? But that's been like every time we've seen a game dumbed down to 30 FPS, immediately someone follows up with that. It's like, wait, no, the human eye can only see so much. And then someone always brings up a damn movie. They're like, movies are 24 frames per second. That's a fucking movie. You're not actively playing a game. It's pre-rendered. Now, the question is, where is Xbox? Is there going to be an Xbox Pro? Xbox doesn't call it Pro, right? They just add like another X, right? It'd be like the Xbox Series XX. Xbox Series Z. You know, when I was a kid, we assumed it was like Xbox 360, and we were like, oh my God, the 720. You know what I mean? And then they didn't go with it. They didn't do the 720. I would say Xbox needs to do something, dude. Yeah, I think they need to put out their own system here. But again, I think the Series X is already a very strong console as it is. We'll have to, see. I'm sure Digital Foundry is probably going to do some comparisons between the PlayStation 5 Pro and the Series X and see the differences. I think the Series S, I just wish the Series S didn't exist. I went and hung out with my friend. We played Halo. We played the Series S. We played split screen, and it was terrible. And I just feel like this S is just too weak. And I wonder if the Series X is actually being held back by the S in some way. But the Series S is goated. It fits in my backpack. Oh my God. You remember years ago? I don't know if y'all remember years ago, guys. There was like this really big push to making everything extremely small. I remember a buddy of mine, they kept trying to make a PC as small as they can. And they would, mid-sized case, and then kept condensing it. And then eventually they got it down to like just the tiniest fucking PC as small as you can. And there was like a real big push for that. But I don't care, man. I mean, I'm not traveling a whole bunch. I don't care if it takes up my whole wall. If anything, that sometimes in some ways that helps because it's like, more airflow. It gets too hot when it gets that small. Yeah, the Xbox Series S is like a 4090 is damn near the size of that console. Actually, the 4090 is bigger than the entire Switch. It's literally bigger than an entire need. And that's the other thing. The PlayStation 5 is pushing out, or Sony's pushing out their Pro. Dude, where is the Nintendo? I need Zelda at 60 FPS. Like, when is Nintendo going to finally get off their ass and make this shit happen? I'm sick of waiting. I had to play the Tears of the Kingdom at 30 FPS, and it was still a phenomenal game. But man, imagine if it was at 60 FPS. The Pro is damn near double the price of a regular PS5. I thought a regular PS5 is $500. It's $500 with a disc. Ah, all right. Well, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I mean, it is pricey. But dude, man, I mean, hardware is just pricey. I mean, that's it. Hardware is just pricey, guys. What's the price of a 3080 right now? A 3080 right now is $795. You could get a Founders Edition 3080 $795 if you wanted to do some other stuff. Let's see what a 3060 is. Oh, no, a 3060 drops it down quite a bit. It's $294 on Amazon, $350 on Best Buy. Okay, all right, 300, somewhere around 300. I think, again, whenever I look at like console reveals and stuff, I can't really contextually make comparisons when they throw out numbers. Like they're like, this thing puts out this many teraflops. I mean, maybe I can go look at it on GPUs and see like what kind of teraflops they put out. But the point is, it's like, I'm more or less like, okay, what is the comparison? Is hardware here equivalent to a 3060 or 3070, something along those lines? So that's where like things like Digital Foundry comes in, and like they'll do those comparisons. Current owner of PS5, why would I upgrade to a Pro? It seems pointless. You would only upgrade to a Pro if you absolutely want to experience fidelity mode and performance mode together. Here's what you can do, in my opinion. And listen, this is not a Starforge ad. In my opinion, I would sell your PlayStation 5 Pro, okay? I would take that $400 combined with that $700 and just get a PC. Not an ad. But it also depends on where your friends are and where your community is. If all your friends are on PlayStation and y'all like to chill in, like, the PlayStation party and hang out, do that then. Every console is a loss leader where gaming companies don't make money off the sale of the console. No, they don't. No, they don't. Yeah, I heard a long time ago, every company takes a loss for their consoles. It's the getting you on their platform, buying their games, getting you in the store, Still doesn't mean it's cheap. And it still ain't cheap, right? But again, like comparable to PCs. PCs are more expensive. This is the last piece I'm going to say on this. I just want to look at it real quick. How do you feel about the look? It's obviously the same size. So, whereas like y'all remember the PlayStation 4 Pro was bigger than the PlayStation 4. This looks to be almost identical size. The only difference is it's got the ribs there on the side for, I guess, for heat release, which is probably a good play. It probably also makes it cheaper too, or more price efficient because you don't actually have to change the size of the case, right?
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.